All Access Comedy. Please welcome your host, DJ Demers.
Hey guys, how are you? Halifax, how you doing today? Good? Nice. So great to see you, so great to be here at the All Access Comedy Show as part of the Halifax Comedy Festival. And this is a show that celebrates diversity, inclusion, accessibility, very important things. We're very excited that you guys are here as part of the show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you. We've got amazing comedians from all across Canada and a couple even living in the States now. We've got accessibility. You can see we've got the real-time captioning here, and we've got the wonderful Jennifer Lees providing ASL Interpretation. Give it up for Jennifer and our captioner as well. Jennifer and I have actually worked together a few times before. We've been friends for like a decade now, so I love working with her. She pretty much can sleepwalk through my jokes at this point. She just doesn't like when I say long words, and she has to finger spell the whole word, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you know? She did it, right? She did. And just to describe the stage for my blind friends at home or in the audience, it's like blue and orange, and there's some smiling lips above me, and it says, ha, with an exclamation mark. Always nice when the stage has directions for the audience as well, so that's nice. That's what you're supposed to be doing here tonight. Yeah, it's great to be here. I wear hearing aids myself. That's my disability. I am deaf, well, hard of hearing. I've had full-on deaf people get mad at me for calling myself deaf. They've come up to me after shows. When I've called myself deaf, they come up after. They're like, you're not deaf. You're hard of hearing. We're deaf. You're not. I'm like, okay, I don't want no trouble here, you know. I'm just a couple dead batteries away from being on your team, you know what I mean? I do love performing on an accessible show like this because it's so great, not just from the accessibility perspective, but it's so good for your ego as a comedian. Because what happens is I tell my joke, and then the laughter comes in from the hearing people, and then a moment later, everyone who's reading the real-time captioning, they laugh. And then a second after that, the deaf people laugh from the interpretation, so I get 3 waves of laughter off the same joke. It's tremendous. You can even get a 4th wave if you have enough stupid people in the audience, so that's nice. Quiet on set. I've always wanted to say that. My name is DJ Demers, and I'm from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. I have severe to profound hearing loss, and I wear behind-the-ear hearing aids to help with my hearing, and I've had that hearing loss since I was 4 years old. Talking about my hearing aids on stage has kind of made me realize that there might have been a little bit of shame or embarrassment with them as I was growing up, especially in your teenage years. As I've gotten older, though, that's all gone away, and I'm very thankful for that because it allows me to just speak about it openly, and then other people who are feeling that sort of embarrassment can kind of hopefully gain a little something from that. Yeah, I think representation is very important. How many deaf people want to go watch comedy, but there's no interpreter? So, or even people who have, you know, if they're limited in their mobility and they want to try stand-up, but they couldn't go to the venue and they couldn't get up on stage. I think the more voices that can be heard, there's just way more humor to be mined from that. We don't want to hear from the same voices all the time, so the more representation we can have, the more comedy we'll have. I had to go get a hearing test recently, and I've had to get them my whole life, obviously, but I always get so nervous before a hearing test because, you know, I never pass. Like, there's never... When you're deaf and you go get a hearing test, there's never any good news. They're never like, wow, your hearing got way better. You been working out or something? Those eardrums are looking tight. That never happens. They're just like, yeah, you're still deaf. Oh, thank you. And... But I had to go, my regular audiologist was on vacation, so I had to see this backup audiologist. I'd never met this guy before, and he was just like mean. Like this guy, right away, he put me in the oldest, smallest soundproof booth I've ever been in. Like 2 feet by 2 feet, just a tiny little window to look out of. I'm trapped in there like Hannibal Lecter or something. I got these little headphones on, a little clicker, and he's on the outside of the booth hitting buttons on a computer. And I can't see him hitting the button, but every time he hits a button, I hear a little beep in my headphone, and I gotta let him know I heard it with my stupid little Jeopardy clicker, right? And I'm already nervous, but I'm like, you got this. Today's gonna be your day, DJ. Think positive. And the first beep comes through, and it's like, beep! And I'm like, oh, nice. 1 for 1, killing it. And the second beep comes through, and it's like, beep. Significantly lower? Okay, stay positive, you got this. Didn't hear another beep. I was done after 2, but I had too much pride to admit it, so the rest of the test was just me trying to guess when he was hitting his button. Finally, he was like, oh, DJ, the test has been done for 5 minutes. I've just been checking my emails out here if you want to stop hitting your button, please. I'm happily married. I got a beautiful wife, and I love her very much, and she's amazing. And I'm the first guy with hearing aids she's ever been with. I think. I've never asked, but I don't want to know. I'd be jealous if I found out I wasn't, you know? I'd be like, just tell me one thing. Was he deafer than me? What kind of hearing aid did he wear? With my luck, she'd be like, oh, he didn't wear hearing aids. He was full deaf, baby. He misheard me in ways you can only dream of. Now, she's got it good, though. I take my hearing aids out when we go to sleep. She can fart all night long. Honestly, that's huge. She lucked out. She can let them rip all night long. She gets a little carried away sometimes, though, you know. I'm like, you know I can still smell, right? Like, come on. I do appreciate having her in my life. You know, I didn't realize, though, there's things, because I take my hearing aids out when we sleep, so there's things she had to get used to, like pillow talk is a lot different. You know what I mean? Like, because when I take my hearing aids, like, there's no, like, casual transition from talking into sleeping. Like, when I take my hearing aids out, talking time is over, sleeping time has begun, you know? We even have a little ritual we do now where before I take them out, I'll make, like, a last call. Hey, baby, you got any final thoughts on the day? Or any closing remarks? So I'm about to shut this shit down. It's not all fun and games, though. She said something to me very early on. She was like, you know, when we go to bed, when you take your hearing aids out, I feel very alone. I feel very alone. I was like, whoa, alone? Baby, no, you're never alone. Don't ever forget that. I'm right there beside you. And if anything happens in the middle of the night, anything at all, I need you to save me, okay? In fact, I'm gonna need you to start sleeping with your contacts in, please. We're very vulnerable right now. I take out my hearing aids, you take out your contacts. As a unit, we've gone full Helen Keller, you know what I mean? That's not good. That's not good. We actually have a baby boy now. I got a 1-year-old baby at home, so we're very happy about that, and thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I love having, I mean, he's my son. He's my baby boy. I love him very much. And it's really easy having a baby at home, you know? I take my hearing aids out when we go to sleep, so my wife's doing all the work in the middle of the night. I'd love to help, but this dang disability, you know? But no, my wife found this great device so that I can help her in the middle of the night. She found it on Amazon. It's called a cattle prod. And it's really getting me up, quick.
All Access Comedy will be right back. All Access Comedy.
Courtney Gilmour, hello.
Hello.
Fellow Kitchener, right? Kitchenerian.
Kitchener representation.
Yeah. So, Courtney, how would you describe your disability?
I would describe myself as having no hands and one leg, but that's a lot to say when people ask. So amputee, congenital amputee. Well, I'm missing my right leg, so I have a prosthetic leg, which is amazing. I charge it next to my iPhone at night. It's like very high tech. It's like a microprocessor knee. So it's like computerized. It moves with me. It senses my motion. It's very cool. It makes cappuccinos. No, it doesn't. But it's really cool.
Do you feel like every time you go out there, you have to address your disability, or do you sometimes just want to launch into other things without talking about it?
I have felt trapped by it, a little bit pigeonholed. However, in the past year or so, I've been more experimental with exploring other material. I feel more confident in doing that now. But yeah, like it's a very visible difference, right? I think in the entertainment industry, people who have differences, whether they're visible or invisible, want to see themselves, like on stage. They want to hear those experiences. I think it's important for able-bodied people to hear experiences that are not like their own.
Put your hands together for the wonderful Courtney Gilmour, everybody.
Hello! Thank you so much. Halifax, how are we doing? Amazing! Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. Isn't this an amazing all accessibility? We did it, full access. Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. My name is Courtney, and in the spirit of full accessibility, I just want to start my set by giving you guys a bit of a self-description, okay? Just want you to get a self-description of me here, okay? I'm 5'1", long, flowing, dark, beautiful hair, juicy ass. And as some of you might have noticed by now, just by the sound of my voice, I don't have hands, okay? Can you hear it? It gives me away every time. It's me not clapping. Listen, guys, it's fine. You know, I love this. Being an amputee, you know, this is really taking the whole ASL experience to the next level for me, okay? I love this. This is the first time in my life I've ever been a hand talker, all right? Thank you. No, I am an amputee. Ugh, I know, another straight white amputee on the comedy lineup again. They're everywhere. You have to have confidence with a disability, you know, and I think I do. I carry myself with confidence. You know how confident I am? My New Year's resolution this year? Fewer limbs. Who gives a shit? Take my head. Take my head. I'll make it work, you know? I'm in my minimalist era, okay? I'm from Toronto, but I've been performing a lot in small towns recently. Anyone here from a small town? Yes. I love performing in small towns. That surprises people. They're like, don't you find that a challenge as a person with a disability? No, I don't. Because I know in every small town, I'm never the weirdest thing people have ever seen. Never. You know? Everybody in every small town knows some weird guy who lives by the river and is missing 3 fingers, you know? They call him Table Saw Timmy or something like that. It's relatable content for me. The thing is, I live in Toronto, and one thing I've noticed about living in a big city is people there are very nervous to offend me all the time. They're very cautious. They want to make me feel accepted, and they want me to feel included, but they're always, you know, a little bit cautious to insult me, which, you know, makes me wonder, okay, so you were the high school bully, got it. But, you know, it's interesting because I think this is taken to the extreme sometimes. Like, for example, I was walking downtown recently, and I saw this guy riding a bike, but he was not just riding his bike, he was having himself a confident day, okay? He was feeling himself. This man was cycling his bike downtown with both hands behind his back, right? He was showing off. He was showing off a little bit with both hands behind the back, okay? Until he saw me, okay? He sees me walking towards him. We lock eyes. He instantly puts both hands back on the handlebars. Both hands back on the handlebars. He freaked out, right? He got nervous. He got anxious. And I was like, relax, dude. It's fine. You're not appropriating my culture. It's okay. I have a lot of people who ask me lots of questions, you know. People are curious to know how I feel about having a disability. Most popular question is, don't you ever wish you had hands? Isn't that something you ever wish for yourself? That you wish sometimes that you had hands, Courtney? I'm gonna be honest with you, Halifax, okay? I don't wish that I had hands. I mostly just wish you guys didn't have hands, okay? That would be better for me if this was a group effort, okay? If we could all collectively struggle over a jar of Skippy peanut butter, that would be amazing for my life. No, I don't wish I had hands, but you know what I do wish that I had? I do wish I had a celebrity doppelganger. I actually had one single experience, though, where I was mistaken for a celebrity, okay? This actually happened one time in my life. I was at a bar, and this woman comes rushing up to me, so excited, and she goes, "I know you. I know who you are." And I had been doing comedy for like 6 months, and I was like, it's happening. This is it. People know me. So crazy, so conceited. She's like, "I know you. You're Nelly Furtado." Now everyone up here is like, this bitch does not look like Nelly Furtado. And I know. I'm with you, but I was so excited. I was so flattered in the moment that I just went with it, okay? I just went with it. She was like, "I'm a huge fan." She's like, "I'm a huge fan. It's so nice to meet you." She's asking for selfies. She's asking for autographs, okay? And I'm just living in the moment, all right? I am living my best Nelly Furtado life, okay? But when I got home, when I think about this encounter now, in retrospect, from the perspective of this lady, a self-proclaimed huge fan of Nelly Furtado, I can't help but wonder why she didn't have at least one question, you know? Off the top of my head, I'm thinking that question is something like, what the happened to Nelly Furtado? Right? Isn't that wild? Isn't that so wild? Like, how do you walk into a bar, spot recently armless Nelly Furtado, and you don't have anything to say? I was like, I can't tell if this lady was the least observant person I've ever met in my life, or possibly the most progressive. She's like, "I don't see limbs. I don't see limbs." You guys have been so fun. Thank you so much. I'm Courtney Gilmour. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All Access Comedy. We'll be right back. All Access Comedy.
My name is Lachance, and I'm from White Rock, British Columbia. I have quad spastic cerebral palsy, which means it affects all 4 of my limbs, and I basically talk with my entire body. And then I have caregivers that help me do 98% of the things in my life. And that's pretty much me.
What does it mean for you to be on this show that is all about accessibility and inclusion?
I've struggled over the years where a lot of places thought I was a novelty act, or I was too different, or they couldn't find a headliner that could follow me or something like that. And then being a person with a disability, I look and see things differently than the average able-bodied person. Like I said, regardless of your physical situation or even mental situation, funny is funny. And that's all I ever wanted to do, was prove I was just as funny as everybody else. I didn't think of myself any differently being in a wheelchair, so I don't want to be treated differently for being in a wheelchair.
Put your hands together for Ryan Lachance, everybody!
Hey, Halifax, how you doing? I once played paper, rock, scissors with another quadriplegic. It took 4.5 years, and the only way it ended was I had to wait for my edible to kick in, and I was finally able to do paper. I have cerebral palsy. Don't worry, I don't know what it is either. That's why we have Google. So if someone wants to Google what my left hand's been trying to tell me for 40 years, I'd really like to know. I think I have the cure for cancer, or why Donald Trump was president, trapped in his hand. After the show, we can open it up like a crappy Kinder Surprise and see if I was right. It's an honor to be part of a show with so many talented disabled people, but I can understand why they didn't just book a whole bunch of people in wheelchairs, because we'd be considered a convoy. And I left my trucker hat and Canadian flag at home, so. It's really hard to mount a air horn on a wheelchair too, by the way. But when you do, it's worth it. People ask me if I drink, and I don't drink because I'm always driving. I want to learn how to play the flute, because not enough people hate me. As a matter of fact, I want to be the first disabled person to be canceled. With my shoes, I understand that shoes have dreams too. So what I like to do is I get my able-bodied friends to walk around them for a while just so they can be free, you know? Before they get put in permanent lockdown and then sold 5 years later because they're pristine for 5 times the price. Because Mama didn't raise an idiot. I get asked a lot of strange questions being in a wheelchair, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, was I born in a wheelchair? Thank you, Halifax. I'm not done. I'm thanking you for understanding how stupid that question is. This is the best Make-A-Wish I've ever had, by the way. And I get like 6 a year, so. This is like number 2 for sure. Depending on how the rest of the show goes, it might be number 1. But I doubt it, because my number 1 trip was Disneyland. I just rode on the shoulders of the Rock. It was awesome. I made that part of my Make-A-Wish. I'm like, I want to go to Disneyland with the Rock. But here's the deal. He's got to carry me. And he's such a nice guy, he did it. I wish. I'm just putting it out on TV so he sees this. And he feels obligated because I'm in a wheelchair. Here's the thing, everybody. Sometimes you just gotta change things up. And what I like to do is I'll go to a gymnasium and I'll see people on stair climbers and I'll be like, "You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere." And just wheel away. I don't even wait for a reaction. I don't need it. I know that they're already freaking out. And they're like, "Did I park in that guy's spot? Is that why I came in here?" My disability can sometimes be interesting, and I have moments with my caregivers that average people don't have. Like the other day, I was talking to my caregiver, and they always told me to try new things. So I wanted to try an escape room. And this is how awesome my caregiver is. She's a wonderful human being. She looked me dead in the eye and she goes, "Ryan, every room's an escape room. All I have to do is shut the door." I'll leave you with a piece of advice, Halifax. And I briefly mentioned it earlier, but I want to reiterate the point, and that is, never trust a guy in a wheelchair with dirty shoes.
All Access Comedy. We'll be right back. All Access Comedy.
My name's Tanyalee Davis. I'm originally from Winnipeg, now living in Florida. Yeah, well, actually, I have a form of dwarfism called diastrophic dysplasia. I've been using a mobility scooter, three-wheel scooter, for about 40-some years, and occasionally I use a cane and carry my step stool with me.
How did your disability and your comedy, how do they intersect?
You know, I've always addressed my size, and it's been a focal point, but now I'm a storyteller. My act is about my life, my experiences traveling as a little person, but the situations that I get into that are comical. You know, I think right now we're living in very much a victim mentality, and people look at me and want to feel sorry for me, and I'm like, you don't need to feel sorry for me because I've done amazing things in my life, and with my comedy, I get to tell you about it. And so that's why this Unstoppable Me message that I got tattooed on my arm here is very much my mantra. Stop focusing on what you can't do and focus on what you can do. You know, everybody's got bullshit in their lives. We've all got problems, but your problems are no better or worse than mine. My problems are no better than worse than yours. Stop being a victim. We've all got problems. Move on!
Tanyalee Davis, everybody!
That's right, my name's Tanyalee Davis. I am 3 foot 3 inches tall. That's right, you can imagine I hang out around a lot of assholes. Whether I like it or not. I have a form of dwarfism called diastrophic dysplasia. It's a recessive gene. What that means is 2 tall people created this. 3 foot 3 inches, that's right, 2 tall people. It's like 2 brown-eyed people having a blue-eyed child. My parents had no idea, 2 tall people, they were carrying a recessive gene for dwarfism. They had a 1 in 4 chance of having a dwarf baby, unbeknownst to them. And I was baby number 1, so they got a Yahtzee right off the bat. And each type of dwarfism has their own genetic makeup, plus they have their own physical characteristics that are attributed to that type of dwarfism. One of the crazy things is with diastrophics, we're actually on the shorter end of the dwarfism spectrum. We're actually known as the cherub dwarf. I'm a friggin' angel! The thing is, my proportions are off, right? And that throws things into a mix. Gets me in some crazy situations. If you follow me online, you might have saw a video I posted not too long ago. I was traveling on American Airlines flight in America, and I have a scooter. I have a 3-wheel scooter that I use to get around. That's how I travel. And I drive my scooter to the door of the airplane, and I get off. I've got a step stool that I carry in my cane. Walking on the plane, I'm with my friend Patsy. She's tall, right? So a dwarf chick and a tall chick walking on the airplane. So Patsy and I are sitting there, she's to my left, right? We're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden the flight attendant comes over. She goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, is your seat FAA approved?" And I'm looking and I'm like, well, I'm on an airplane seat. Didn't you go to training for this sort of stuff? I mean, I hope it's FAA approved. And then she leaned in and she goes, no, the seat that you're sitting on isn't FAA approved. And that's when I went, my ass? Did you just ask me if my ass was FAA approved? Because, right, picture this, right? She saw a dwarf lady and a tall chick walking onto an airplane, right? Huge size difference. But then we sit down because I have a long body trunk and T-Rex arms, right? We're sitting there eye to eye. So in her mind, she thought I was sitting on a booster seat, right? So when I showed her it was just my big fat ass, she was like, no, can't compute, no. And at first I was like, oh, I'm getting ass shamed, right? You know, and I explained it and I put it out on the internet, you guys, because I thought it was hilarious. But some people freaked out. They're like, how dare she? She should be fired. She needs to be reprimanded. I'm like, really? Is this where we're at as a society? When When's the last time you saw an airplane video where somebody wasn't getting, punched in the face or kicked it off an airplane, I'm an old school chick. I got bullied to my face, I just say, people are like, Tanyalee, I'm getting bullied online. I'm like, turn off your devices. Like I said, we've all got challenges. We got to stop focusing on what we can do and focus on what we can do, right? Because we all have the ability, I know this room especially, right? We got all sorts of different shapes and sizes and everything in here, right? And the thing is people underestimate us, right? They see us and they see this shell and they can't imagine living life in our bodies, right? So they immediately want to feel sorry. But then when they find out your story and what you've accomplished, right? Then all of a sudden we're inspiring. And right now I think we need a little bit more inspiration in our lives, right? We're living in a society where it's all doomsday and life is, and everybody's got mental health problems. But you know what? Welcome to being a human being, right? We all got shit going on in our lives, right? Like I said, having a sense of humor is great because you know what? 3 weeks after that incident with the flight attendant, I now have a brand new tattoo on my left butt cheek that is stamped FAA approved. And if you want to see it, it's going to cost you. Thanks a lot, you guys. I'm Tanyalee Davis. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
All Access Comedy. We'll be right back. All Access Comedy.
My name is Ahren, Belisle, and I'm from North Bay, Ontario. I have cerebral palsy, which is a neuromuscular condition. It doesn't affect you cognitively at all, but it makes it harder to use your muscles. I can't use the muscles on my left and it makes me unable to speak, so I use my phone to deliver my comedy. I use an iPhone app that saves my jokes sentence by sentence, or bit by bit, and then I have the iPhone accessibility tools read the lines.
I love watching you type and you're smiling while you're typing. It gets me excited. I'm like anticipating what just made you smile there. So what makes you laugh?
Everything makes me laugh. My life experiences, my own jokes make me laugh. That's half of my act. I have fun on stage, and it's just great to be building a career doing something I enjoy, and breaking down barriers, and building a platform to educate people, and talk about stuff I care about. There's literally nothing different about a disabled person. We all have the same needs. There's always a way to enjoy your life, and do something that is meaningful to you. I was so lucky because my parents always treated me like I could be great, but a lot of people were taught that they never could be, and it's vital to have role models showing people that they can do things.
Put your hands together for the incredible Ahren Belisle, everybody.
Like they said, my name is Ahren Belisle, a perfect stage name. It's spelled Ahren with an H and Belisle with an S. I guess my parents thought that if I'm not able to say my own name, nobody else should be able to either. You should know that if you heckle me. My highly trained service dog is trained to go for the vocal cords. So if you don't like my jokes, just take a lesson from me and say nothing. I know what you're all thinking. Who ordered Stephen Hawking off of Wish.com? I get it. We have a lot in common. I'm an engineer, he's a scientist, and we, like all handicapped people, are the exact same person. The difference is, Stephen Hawking is smart, and I moan at my dog on the internet for likes. Stephen Hawking might be smarter than me, but I would beat him in a race. Unless it is downhill, then I'm screwed. I used to have the word handicapped in my social media bio, and then some random white lady messaged me telling me I need to change it to disabled.
You can't say that word anymore. It is offensive to disabled people.
Listen, cracker, I'm handicapped. It's not offensive.
Well, you don't get to decide what is offensive or not to disabled people.
Who the hell does then? Some two-legged white woman on Facebook who was probably commenting on her phone from a handicapped bathroom stall. I posted a TikTok recently about how I am mute so I moan at my dog to communicate. And this guy comments, "Just talk." Oh wow, I never thought to try that. I guess I just always saw people saying stupid nonsense growing up and thought, this talking stuff isn't for me. People often think my disability defines my existence. Many people will say something like, "Oh, you have cerebral palsy. I know another guy with cerebral palsy. You should be best friends." But they don't like it when I go up and say, "Oh, you're an idiot." I know an idiot. You should be best friends. A lot of things are harder for me, like putting on a jacket, taking off a jacket, and texting while driving. Don't worry though, I've only been in 3 car accidents. Luckily, everything I do is an inspiration. I hit a cyclist with my car the other day and the guy says, "Oh, you can drive. You're an inspiration." So I backed up and hit him harder. And on the 7 o'clock news, the headline read, "Vehicular homicide," but it's okay because the driver was just doing his best. People think it's amazing that I live alone, but what's really amazing is that I got all those heads in my freezer. All by myself. I had one last joke planned for you all. The funniest joke of all time. Unfortunately, my phone is dying, so I'm gonna get out of here instead. Have a good night and thanks for coming.
Welcome back to the stage, DJ Demers.
Hey, guys. Well, I got to tell you guys, I joke around about my hearing aids a lot, and I'm pretty comfortable with them now. Very comfortable talking about them now. But when I was a kid, I wasn't always like super comfortable. It was actually like a thing that I was very embarrassed about because I take them out when they're not waterproof, so I take them out when I shower or when I go swimming. So pool parties are a nightmare, Not very good at the game Marco Polo. That's not my game. Not a whole lot of polo happening when I'm playing that game. Lots of Marco. It's no better as an adult. I don't hear whispering at all now. And whenever adults whisper something, it's always like juicy, salacious information, right? Like, I'm missing out on all the good stuff. Nobody's ever whispering like mundane small talk, right? No one's ever like, "Oh, really beautiful day out there." Why are you whispering that? What are you plotting? My friend came up to me one time and she was like, "I was just in Bermuda." I was like, "Mm-hmm." And she's like, "And I cheated on my husband with 2 guys at the same time." And I was like, "Bermuda sounds incredible." Idiot. Stupid. Take my hearing aids out at the gym, though. Sometimes I like to take them out if I'm in a public bathroom and I don't want to hear people grunting and pooping and whatnot. I take them out. It's wonderful. I take them out at the gym so I don't have to hear people grunting and almost pooping and terrible music. And so I take them out. I go on the elliptical at the gym. You guys know the ellipticals? No idea what muscles I'm working. I'm sweating. I have no idea why. No practical application in the everyday world, but I love it. I'm on it. I take my hearing aids out. One dude came up to me, though. I think he was an employee at the gym. Came up to me with the clipboard. I had my hearing aids out. He started talking to me. And I go, oh, sorry, dude, can't talk. I'm deaf. I thought that would be the end of it. He goes, oh. He starts signing at me. And I don't know sign language. You know, I'm very bad at being deaf. And I'm not good at hearing either. I'm like a day walker. I don't know where I belong, but... So this guy starts signing at me. I'm like, oh, no, sorry, dude, I don't sign either. And he was like, oh, and he just walked away. But I could tell he was so confused. He was like, but he said he was deaf, but he doesn't sign, and he was talking to me. Did that son of a bitch just lie about being deaf? Huh? A lot of guys wearing tight clothes at the gym now, too. That's what I've been noticing. Lots of guys wearing, like, the leggings under their shorts and stuff. Not even just under shorts, just sometimes full-on leggings. It's good. It's good for society that we're able to get to that point where, you know, cool, young, like, high school guys, college guys, they're wearing, like, leggings. It's good. You got to tip your hat to the first company that made it okay for guys to wear the spandex. You know, the first company that recognized that for years men have been looking at women in spandex, and we've been thinking, damn, that looks comfortable. If only there was some way I could wear that. And we're like, no, I can't wear spandex. I'll be ridiculed. And then this company came along, and they said, what if we told you it's not spandex? What if we told you it's armor? Oh, yeah, real tough stuff, like a tank or an armadillo. Armor, Under Armour, what a badass name. Under's a key word too, right? They were like, yeah, just wear it under your other clothes. It'll be our little secret, right? Under Armour. I just wish guys would be more honest and just admit that it makes them feel sexy. You still got guys trying to make up athletic reasons for why they wear it. Like, oh no, it had to be this tight. It wicks away my perspiration and keeps me aerodynamic out there. Aerodynamic? Dude, you're on the elliptical right beside me. You're fine, man. You're slicing through the wind. It's a hell of a machine. Makes you feel sexy, that's fine, just admit it. I got one of the shirts, not super tight, but tighter than I've ever owned. And I get it, hugs my skin, makes me feel like Batman, I'm all in, you know? I don't have the pants yet, I'm just not there yet. You know what I mean? It's still a little bit jarring for me to see an exact outline of your vacuum-sealed dick and balls, but that's just me. I'm just not there yet. Halifax, thank you so much for coming to this all-access comedy show. Keep it going for every one of the entertainers you've seen here tonight. They've all been incredible. We really appreciate you guys coming out. This has really been a special night for everybody involved. Keep it going for the real-time interpreter, for Jennifer Lee. Thank you so much. I'm DJ Demers. See you later.
All Access Comedy is dedicated to the memory of Daryl Lennox. Executive producer, Jeff Dion. Producer, Moya Walsh. Director, editor, Alan McLean. Line producer, Len McKeegan. Production supervisor, Charlene Woods. Festival producer, Kim Hendrickson. Festival director, Christina Edwards. Accessibility coordinator, Hannah Wood. For Accessible Media Inc., content development specialist, Ryan Delahanty. Integrated described video consultant, M. Williams. Production executive, Michelle Dudis. Copyright 2023, Accessible Comedy TV Inc. Pilot Light Productions.
Produced in association with AMI.